Hello, everybody. My name is Karis Nunez, and I represent the E&J Gallo Winery. I am the sales recruiting manager covering the Eastern and Mecca areas, which are traditional Southeast states, if you will. And then the Mega goes all the way out to New Mexico. I am also the TMCF liaison nationwide for the Gallo Winery organization, and I'm really excited to be here today to talk to you about all things resumes. I've been with the organization a little over 10 years and have seen my fair share of good, bad, ugly, and everything in between when it comes to resumes. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys about who we are a little bit as a winery, our opportunity, and then how you can really stand out from the pile and the pack as you put together your resumes over the next few days. So first and foremost, I represent, again, the E&J Gallo Winery. We are the largest winery in the world, exporting to over 90 different countries. And believe it or not, 1 out of every 4 bottles of wine you can purchase in the United States is one of ours. Actually, soon to be 1 out of every 3 bottles of wine, as we're about to close on the largest acquisition in wine history. Think about how far back wine history goes. Pretty exciting stuff. It's a great time to get into the industry. We are family owned and operated, and we're founded in 1933, right after Prohibition. And, that's our goal, to continue to be family owned and operated. We can do a lot of things that our competitors can't do because we don't have to answer to shareholders. And we are really able to tap into innovation and, a sense of entrepreneurship that each and every one of us gets to really bring to life every single day. I love being an entrepreneur where I don't want the responsibilities of being an entrepreneur. I got someone else's money and resources to work with, but I still get to bring my fresh ideas to the job every single day, which I really love. We're actually growing as a winery 3 times faster than our industry and have been for the past 20 years. And that's really, really exciting in terms of slow and steady growth wins the race. I'm sure you heard that. And, hopefully you recognize some of our brands. I know when I was in your shoes in college, of course, since I turned 21, drank a lot of Barefoot, which is the largest wine brand on planet Earth. I remember Andre, which now comes in cans, which is really convenient. And one of my today favorites is La Marca Prosecco that I remember launching when I was a sales rep in our sales leadership development program. It's one thing to be a big company, right? Oh, you're the biggest and the best, great. But I think you should focus on working for a great company. And when people ask me, Karis, what is the competitive advantage that Gallo has over all your other competitors? These are the 6 elements that I say every single time are kind of the differentiating factor between what makes us big and what makes us great. And there are 6 corporate values. These 6 pillars are literally printed on the backside of every single business card that we carry as a physical reminder of how we go to business with integrity, innovation, respect, commitment, teamwork, and humility. One of the ways that I love we exemplify those qualities through our employee resource groups. And because I don't have so much time to talk to you guys about all things Gallo today, I want to just highlight one key element of our ERG families, our micro families within the bigger Gallo family, and how it really leans into respecting the people who work for our organization and our commitment to making sure our organization is a physical representation of our consumer base, which is a little bit of everybody. And that's pretty cool. I have the pleasure of sitting on 2 leadership boards, one for GAN, which is our Gallo African American Network, and also for WOW's, Women of Wine and Spirit. So looking forward to hopefully connecting with you guys on a broader scale of what each of those different ERGs represent. I specifically recruit for the sales leg of our organization through our sales leadership development program. 95% of all of the people, including our CEO and his children, who work for us that have come through the Gallo Winery have all started here. We're a merit-based company. We promote from within, and we are family. We take care of our family, and that is super important. There are 7 kids in my family. We're a tribe, and it was one of the first things that attracted me to the winery when I was in your shoes over 10 years ago. We are looking for the future leaders of our organization. It is a career opportunity, and our sales leadership development program really lay out the first 3 or 4 jobs that you will have within that career span. Our average minimum career tenure at the Gallo Winery is 19 years. Yes, 19. Not even kidding you, which is unheard of, but it's because the family takes care of the family, and that's really cool. So you start as a sales rep, you move into a manager role, and then you really are the face of the winery back to your consumers and your distributor partners. And I hope I get the opportunity to talk to you guys more about that in depth. But at the end of the day, we're looking for the future leaders of the largest winery in the world. I think it could be you. And one of the ways that we determine if you are you and you might be a good fit, and hopefully we'd be a good fit for you as well, is to really dive into your resume and understand how have you been raising the bar of excellence in your own world without anyone ever asking you to. That really, to us, looks like demonstrated leadership. And that is why it is the actual number one consideration that we look at when looking at your resume. Yes, we want you to have a 3.0 GPA or higher. No, we don't care about what your major or minor is. We can teach you a lot of things, but what we can't teach you is leadership. It's so important because it speaks to competitiveness. It speaks to your eagerness to excel. It speaks to your desire to manage and get results through others. It speaks to your willingness to take on additional responsibility. And let's be serious, if you look across the board of the 7 most in-demand qualities of new hires, guess what's at the top of the list? Yes, you see it there in orange. Leadership. Leadership, leadership, leadership. It is so important. And how you demonstrate leadership and how you really showcase that and bring it to life for employers to know and say, I've got what it takes, I have exactly what you need, is through a thoughtful and comprehensive resume. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important. I get asked often, but does it really matter? Do companies, since they spend so little time, 6 seconds or so glancing over your resume, does it really matter? Yeah, it matters to everyone. Every employer on planet Earth, whether it's your family business, whether it's in the private sector, whether it's in the public sector, whether it's nonprofit, your resume shows the stewardship that you have taken over your time, how you've maximized or not opportunities that were in front of you. It measures your drive for success and really shows what kind of potential employee you'll be in the future. If you've heard of behavioral science or behavioral psychology, you understand that one of the best indications of how someone will act is to look back and how they have acted. So at the Gallo Winery, when we say we're looking for demonstrated leadership, that's a great indicator that we're looking at the right folks to be the future leaders of our organization. So let's talk a little bit about what your resume should show in its most basic forms, right? I always say list all of your college organizations and involvements and leave the high school stuff off, right? You've made it to college, you've got this great accomplishment under your belt. By the time you're really looking for full-time employment, one, you might not have room, hopefully, and two, it's just not relevant anymore to talk about what you did in high school, although it might have been wonderful. You want to state what the main purpose of that organization was, responsibilities that you held within that organization, and any committees or, by parties or something that you might have been a part of. Really important to show not that you were involved, but you also had a very specific role that consumed time. How are you spending your time? Resumes are a measure of how you spent your time. Did you spend it wisely? And can you quantify the quality of your efforts, which is so important? How do you quantify as much as possible? If you are in a fraternity or sorority, or you're an AKA, or pick any of the different organizations on campus, how many people were in that organization? Were you just a member, or did you hold a specific elected or appointed role of leadership within that organization? All of those things really, really, really matter. What were your responsibilities? Did you manage a budget? How much was that budget? If you can put a number alongside of any of your different activities, it absolutely anchors your resume in a more solid and credible space. So I always encourage people, quantify the quality of your efforts, quantify the quality of your leadership. That should show up in your experience, whether it's leadership at work, whether it's leadership in your internships or on special projects that you might be working on in your classwork. One question I get a lot is, you know what? All of that sounds really nice. I wasn't able to be involved in a ton of organizations on campus because I had to work. Maybe I didn't have the luxury of my parents helping me out or having some fallback plan. I had to pay all my bills, pay for tuition, and I get it. I worked 3 jobs during college to pay for my education myself. And I understand how challenging that is. And one of the things that I love about the Gallo Winery and most employers is that they honor hard work. So we want to see, that's fine. You haven't been on campus in a bunch of clubs and organizations. Show me what you've done in your job, right? We want to see what your work experience looks like as well. Did you work part-time, full-time? What are your responsibilities? Still, that quantifying quality is really, really necessary. You know, we love how people who work, they know how to manage their time. They know how to problem solve. They know how to connect with customers. They know how to delegate. And they know right up front what is necessary to succeed and bring the best experience to the person on the other side of the counter or whatever kind of customer they may be. Some people say, you know what, I didn't work. I was involved in a lot of clubs and organizations, but I took on a lot of really specialty projects. Tell us about them. It is how you spent your time. That's what's most important. It's not necessarily what you were doing or what organization or what employer you were a part of, more than it is of how did you maximize the time and raise the bar of excellence for yourself while you were there. And that's why it's so, so, so important. Your words matter, whether they come out of your mouth or they're written on paper on your resume. So make sure that they are working for you and not against you. We really want to give you a couple of examples about a couple job duties that could be improved on. A lot of times I'll see resumes that say that are very bland, right? I scooped ice cream, I babysat 3 kids. But what if you turned it on your head and added a value statement with that actual job or responsibility? So instead of just scooping ice cream, what you really did is you added value to the customer service that that individual had when they walked into Baskin Robbins, right? Um, you weren't just babysitting humans and keeping them alive, right? You were really inspiring them to be creative and cohesively get along with other people, all the while you're accomplishing some kind of task. I remember I used to fold laundry at the people's house that I used to babysit for when I was like 16, 17, because what it did is it brought value. And guess who they called when they needed a babysitter? Well, they called me. And that's how I continue to, you know, have extra money. When you do the extras, it always shows up. That extra mile is never, ever, ever too far to get you where you really want to be. So add value statements and value language when you're talking about what some of your duties are, and not just stating, I showed up, I did this, right? So I wanted to give you a couple examples. These are 2 resumes of people that we hired over the past year or so. And what made these 2 examples stand out is that the candidates did research on our organization as the Gallo Winery before they put this together. They understood that demonstrated leadership was one of the most important qualities that we looked for. And so what did they do? They made it top of mind as they put their resume together. So you see leadership here called out at the top of the resume. If you know you're working for an organization that values a certain mechanical, technical skill, or there has to be some kind of certification involved, put that most important thing at the top of your resume. Because when we're just scrolling through 1,000 resumes, 100 miles a minute, we want what we're looking for to pop out. And the easiest way to do that is ask basic questions. Maybe you don't have the opportunity to go to a career fair because of COVID, right? Use LinkedIn, use email, use websites, use the resources that you have in front of you to really be able to pinpoint what is valuable to that employer. Because if you don't know what's valuable, you are not gonna be able to bring value. It's kind of a principle in life my dad taught me years and years ago. If you don't know what's valuable to others, you have no chance of bringing value. And I really apply that in a lot of the different things that I do personally and professionally. So I want to encourage you to think about that as you're putting together your resumes. Another thing that made these 2 resumes stand out was there was a progression within the same organization. So whether it was on campus as a worker, whether it was off campus as a worker, I started from the bottom, now I'm here, right? So that continual progression to want to be better, to raise the bar of excellence really, really, really stands out. Maybe you joined a fraternity or sorority as a member, and then you went out for an office, and then you got a new office, right? It shows a continued dedication to growth, and that's really important. So I'm going to do you guys a favor, and show you a little behind the scenes, behind the curtain look at what the Gallo Winery specifically uses to quantify the quality of your leadership. So we like to measure everything at Gallo. And one of the frustrations I had when I was interviewing years ago was people would tell me generally the things that were important, but what they were looking for, but they never defined it for me. So this is literally how we define leadership at the Gallo Winery. We break it in between platinum, gold, and silver leadership. And I want to just walk through a couple highlights. Now, these don't apply to everybody. We really want folks who come into our recruiting cycle to really have, elements of, column A, column B, column C, excuse me, if you will. So maybe you're not the captain of a sports team, but maybe you started your own business. Maybe you weren't working full time to pay for college, but you were on the royal court. We all know that takes a lot of time, right? Maybe you weren't in a full-time internship, but you were the founder of a campus organization that is meaningful to you. That is time consuming stuff, guys, okay? In the next column in gold leadership, maybe you're a member of a sports team. Maybe you're in the band. Maybe you hold one of those elected roles within one of your organizations on campus. Maybe you're a campus ambassador. I have met so many wonderful campus ambassadors, from Amazon ambassadors to Coke ambassadors to campus, like actual ambassadors. You represent your organization as a university or a college. That's super important. We honor hard work in the classroom. 3.0 is our baseline, but we honor 3.5 or higher in a higher space than just, being a volunteer or a member of a club or organization. So keep that in mind as you're really putting together your resumes. Did I ask or research what is valuable to these organizations and how I should really create a hierarchy visually on my resume to really exemplify that? One of the other things that is really important to us is to also have our candidates exemplify the WIMs. And WIMs stand for work ethic, humility, integrity, maturity, and sales personality. Maybe you have a 4.0 GPA, you are the SGA president, but you bland, you're not going to do well in our organization, right? We want to make sure that you're a well-rounded person who has an opportunity to really shine and be successful at the Gallo Winery. And I would argue that most employers want a lot of these same elements. And this is a great opportunity for you to go ahead and just say, is that me? Are we a good fit? Because your employer needs to be a good fit for you just as much as you need to be a good fit for them. So never lose sight of the power you actually hold on the other side of the table in an interview. Because you should be vetting us as well. And I think that's really important. So I also want to give you a couple examples of what gold, platinum, and silver leadership look like on a resume. These are real live resumes from, a couple semesters ago. But you can see gold leadership in work, platinum leadership in being a president of a fraternity organization, gold leadership in terms of continual progressive leadership roles within an organization. This person was star-studded in our opinion and has done really well in our program. GPA matters, guys. It does. How are you raising the bar of excellence in your classroom? It's equally as important of how you're raising the bar of excellence in your community and on your campus as well. So just a couple physical examples of really what stands out to us as we're scrolling through resumes and how you can consider to possibly stand out as well. Another element that's going to help you succeed and get the job you really want is to use, again, the right words. Words are powerful, guys. They have life. My mama used to say, her name's Felinda, she's pretty cool. Felinda used to say, life and death is in the tongue. And I don't know if some of you have ever heard that saying before, but it's true. What you say brings life to what's being said. And so if you're talking about things that you worked and you helped and blah, 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 great. But what if you led? What if you motivated? What if you had these more active words that speak to the heart of what you not only have done, but what you're able to do in the future? I really want to encourage you to stop and think about that. Are my verbs within my resume, are they speaking life into what actually has already occurred? And is it giving hope and possibility for what is to come? It's important, and that might sound a little dramatic, but I promise you it makes a big difference to recruiters like myself who are going through bland resume after bland resume after bland. Everybody has worked somewhere, everyone has helped do something, right? But not everyone led, and not everyone motivated while they were there, not everyone raised the bar of excellence. Once again, y'all are gonna hear me say that 1,000 times. And I know it's hard, but please do your best to keep that resume at a page. I know it's difficult for a lot of you who are high achieving and you have a lot to be proud of and showcase on your resume, but you know, we don't have the time or energy to scroll through a novel. I have received resumes that are 3 and 4 pages long, and 90% of it was just fluff. That hurts you. It does not help you. So I encourage you to go through and say, am I really being a good steward of the opportunity of this one 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, right? Can I edit thoroughly? Can I concisely recap my experience? You know, you want to be respectful of people's time, right? And so I think that's one of the biggest reasons why we really want to see one page. Couple of little tips and tricks for you if you're having a difficult time whittling down to that one page is you can delete accomplishments from high school. That's the first thing that goes every time. You've already proven that you can do the work, right? For 3 or 4 bullet points is probably enough per activity or per work experience or per project. You don't need to list every single thing you did. Go back to the top of what we're actually looking for is, can I thoughtfully edit and recap my experience, right? And then margins, guys, it's a trick. Can you change your margins? I think they default to 1 inch margins. Take it down to 1/2 an inch, take it down to 3/4 of an inch, whittle it all the way down, and pack it in. Make sure we can see it though. Your font should be big enough that even older eyes can still really experience what you're trying to say on your resume. And if you have an objective or a professional summary, you can possibly take it off. Ask yourself, is it helping me or is it hurting me? And if you can't answer if it's helping you, it's probably hurting you by taking up too much space, so kill it. A couple other areas and ways for you to really stand out, whether you're a freshman, a sophomore, a junior, a senior, a super senior, whether you're in grad school, it doesn't matter. If you are looking for a job and you're in college today, get involved. If you haven't already, specifically if you're younger, you've got time, get involved. You should have a rap sheet of what kind of a steward you have been of your time since you have been in a college community. Again, whether that's work, whether that's organizations, whether that's volunteer work, how have you been spending your time? And people want to see that you've been doing more than just partying and having fun and dancing at homecoming and doing your thing, right? We want to see what have you done to raise the bar of excellence for yourself, and you can't do that unless you've been involved. So please do that. And then you got to sell your involvement, right? That's part of what your resume is for. When you get to that interview, you want to be able to link and leverage and say, look, maybe I haven't done this, but I've done this, and this is what I've learned through that experience. That's really, really, really dynamic. Holding leadership positions in your organization or in your workplace is equally as important and definitely makes you stand out in a crowd. Lots of people work for people. Lots of people are members of different organizations, right? But what makes you different and what makes the people that we look for different is that they said, you know what? It's not enough for me just to show up every day and sit in the back. I want to be part of the progress of where I'm at today. And that's what we need at the Gallo Winery. That's what lots of employers need in their organizations is like, we know what we've done already, but who's going to push us into a better place tomorrow? It's those people who've got that leadership drive, who want to go and do better and grow further. And that takes time and energy and effort. We get it. But those are our people. And I hope some of you are listening to this right now. And then really be able to link your experience to the job opportunity in front of you. It's not enough to say, hey, I was the president of SGA if you can't relate how you had to, fill in the blank thing that you might have to do at whatever job you're interviewing for, right? How did being president or treasurer help you be a good steward of finances that make you qualified to be this financial advisor that you're going out for, right? How did your experience on a social committee help you um, with your event planning if you're going out for an event, like things like that, right? How do you link and leverage your experience and build the bridge that, over the gap between your experience and your opportunity? That is the biggest mistake that I see candidates make, and the biggest miss, and really great people who won't get certain opportunities because they can't link their experience to the opportunity in front of them. So really, really, really important key. And then tailor your resume to your employer of choice. I've received resumes like, I really want to be a part of your organization, but your professional summary at the top says that you're looking for a finance role, or you're interested in the automotive industry, or you're interested in the fashion industry, or something that is just not related to wine and spirits or sales or management or anything that we're looking for, right? So it automatically disqualifies you um, when you blatantly, obviously, aren't bridging the gap between just interest and actuality of your resume. But when you do link that, if you're going to put a professional summary and you want to work for us and you want to work for that whoever employer, make sure it's stated. If you're going to have that statement there, you are X, Y, and Z, and your goal is to get this job at this company, period. Right? It makes a big difference. And then, go the extra mile and write an impactful cover letter. Your cover letter should not be a regurgitation of your resume. It should state at the top what job you're applying for, because if you have a bunch of cover letters and you don't know the people and you don't know what they're applying for, it makes it really difficult to say, what are they talking about, right? So, and then talk about maybe how you came across the organization and how that personally connects with you and why you feel like you would really fill the space well that they're looking for. And then thank them for the opportunity and the consideration of your resume and your application. I will say that the majority of millennials and Zers that I see today don't do cover letters. So when I get a cover letter, it automatically goes in a different pile of people who are probably a little bit higher caliber because they've taken the extra time to thoughtfully write out a cover letter. And that's really important. Another thing that's going to help you stand out once your resume is done is really don't be afraid to reach out and network. I know that looks different today than it did maybe 6, 7, 8 months ago, but you have so many resources at your fingertips still. I have done multiple networking sessions with not just campuses, organizations. I've done them on LinkedIn. Networking can just really be turned on its head. And the purpose of networking is literally to build a connection with someone who can either one, help you or you can help them. That doesn't have to be over, a high boy with a glass of something and some like buffet food. Okay. So if the purpose is to make connections, where are the places in your world today that you can pivot and go make a connection with? Again, I'll have my information linked at the end of this presentation. So that's really, really important. A great network is a group of people who you can really rely on to answer questions, bring new insights, be mentors. And you should always have the perspective of what can I do for you as well. That's really important. Will also make you stand out. And then perfect that 30-second elevator pitch. Who are you? What makes you special? And what are you looking for? What are your qualities, capabilities, and what are you looking for? And then let the resume and the cover letter fill in all of the blanks, right? I hope that was helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity. You have all you need to be successful in any industry that you choose. I hope I get to meet you guys in person one day, or at least be a resource to you virtually whenever you may need it. Again, my name is Karis Nunez of the E&J Gallo Winery. It has been an absolute pleasure. Put some time into those resumes, guys. It will never, ever, ever, ever fail you. And please make sure you continue to keep them up to date as you have new successes that you gain over time. All right. Thanks so much, and I look forward to the next time we can be together. Cheers.